Welcome back once again. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. We're going live from Brooklyn. We're doing things a little different these days. We're in the Zoom stratosphere. Everybody in the world seems to be on Zoom, so why not? We said, fuck it, let's do it too. Before I introduce my guest this week, I'm going to give you the message of the week, which actually comes from my guest. This is from a Twitter post of hers earlier in the week, and it really moved me and really just encapsulates what I think a lot of us are feeling right now. Here it goes. My priority right now is my job because it's funding my life and my dreams. It's also teaching me how to run a successful international business digitally. All my spare time and weekends are devoted to content creation and the side hustle. Yeah. With that, I'd like to introduce hustler Olivia Rachel. Olivia, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Nice to actually meet you. So this whole show today is a little different. I'm bringing on some people, some connections I made through Twitter that I've actually never met. Olivia is coming to us from Canada via Los Angeles, correct?
Yes, yep. I'm originally from Canada, but now I'm in California.
Yeah, you're in LA. And later on in the show, like I said, we're doing things a little differently. I'm going to have another guest on the second two portions, and it's another video guy from Columbus, Ohio, who I also met through Twitter. And yeah, we've never met, but we're about to get it on right now. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a crazy week, but I'm still feeling energized. So.
Just a crazy week, not a crazy month.
Oh my gosh, right? I take it week by week. Yeah, true. Yeah. Crazy month.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you kind of describe this scene? You're in Los Angeles, correct?
Yep.
What's it like there right now? I've talked a lot recently about Brooklyn, and I think everybody is kind of aware nationally what's happening in New York City in terms of daily life and what's going on. How can you describe just briefly? I don't want to spend too much time on it because I think the news is doing enough of it. What's it like for you in LA right now?
Honestly, I think it was a slow start here. Like people just weren't really taking it seriously. But now when I do go out, which is not often, I think people are like taking all precautions. So yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of intense.
And what's the business situation like there? I mean, here they shut down almost everything. I mean, I'd say like 80% of businesses are closed here. Is it the same there? Like, can you go to a restaurant and sit down at all?
No, it's the same here. Yeah, just essential businesses. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy. And you pretty much recently moved to Los Angeles, right? For the job that you're currently doing?
Yes, I was in Michigan before this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I actually did live in California the year prior to that. And then I moved back to Michigan, and then I came back to California. But yeah, it's been crazy. This was like my dream job. So yeah, it's just insane how that happened. And I posted a lot about it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, that's how I kind of like started following you as you were going across country. And that was what really captivated me first. You were like, I'm here today. Now I'm here. This is what's happening here.
It all happened in one day too. I was like, oh, I guess I'm moving to California. Okay. And it was that day that I just like packed up and left.
That's so fantastic. And your career so far has pretty much been in TV and video production, correct?
Yes, I worked in mainstream television and film in Toronto. I was part of the Directors Guild of Canada, and then I transitioned to digital media. My interest kind of shifted a little bit, and I just love digital media. So made that transition, and then found this job opportunity, just like kept applying, kept hustling, and here we are.
Can you describe for a moment the differences between your experiences with television and digital, and why you like digital more?
Honestly, it's the lifestyle. Film is tough. I mean, you're working, people say it's a lifestyle, not a job. It really is. Right. You're working like minimum 12-hour days, sometimes 16 hours. I mean, when you see these actors behind the scenes, you're just like, man, they live out of trailers pretty much. You just really, I don't know. It's a tough lifestyle. You kind of have to go all in. Whereas with digital media, I feel like it's more flexible. It just kind of aligns with my own lifestyle. And the thing is, I spend way more time consuming digital media and social media over film and television. So really, It's just a personal
Cool.
personal preference.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what are some of the things that you enjoy that are conducive to, say, your lifestyle or just life in general, that you experience in digital that just you find are pros over the television film lifestyle?
I like watching content and like people's real life. I feel like people are more media. I mean, not all, but, I'm more interested in like a real person's life versus a character in a movie or a TV show. I don't know. I'm just like so fascinated by people. So yeah, that kind of draws
great.
me to the digital world. Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of being real. You're just more interested in the real
Yeah,
world
I'm like
application.
curious about how, right, like I'm curious about how people think and why they do what they do and how they get to where they are, you know, more so than like a movie, I guess. I still like.
I didn't catch that last thing. It broke up just a little bit, but.
Oh, I said I still like movies and TV shows, but just, yeah, I found myself consuming more, you know, like real content, I guess.
And that's something you put a lot of time into yourself, correct? In terms of when you were, especially when you were traveling across country, you were pretty active in terms of just like rogue video production and just kind of like mapping your journey along the way in video form.
Right, which is hard for me to do. I don't know. I went to film school and then I worked in film, so like I get way too, you know, worked up over the production values.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That kind of forced me to be like, listen, like people don't care about that. It's, you know, you can have perfect production value if you're,
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus more on like content I'm sharing, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand. I've never studied any kind of film or video application. I was kind of thrust into it once I started this show, which was less than a year ago. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist too. My background was in music, and I was a performer and a freelancer for a long time. So I've always brought that into whatever I did, and always wanted like the performance, like you were just talking about with film and television. Like I totally understand that, because you're here to give a performance, and a buddy of mine, he's a New York film guy, and he kind of pulled me aside when this all started. He was like, don't worry about all that shit. He's like, just get an iPhone, get an iPhone and a good mic, and then just go, man. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, your personality will shine through. And is that something you would
so true.
Is that something you would suggest to people? Because now, I mean, basically everybody became like an overnight video sensation, right? We all like had to get on Zoom calls, and everybody's doing like Instagram Live and Facebook Live and Twitter Live. And so we're all of a sudden like these personalities, and it's a pretty mixed bag. But would you say that's a good piece of advice for people that are starting to create, especially in video format? Just go and like work with.
Yeah.
Go for it. Give us a couple nuggets. Give us a couple little bits.
I feel like you can learn a lot based on, like, if you pay attention to the people you watch. It's like, you know, like some of the people I watch, I'm like, well, why do I like their content? Do they have perfect lighting? Is it the camera? It's never that, you know, it's just, I like how raw they are. I like that they're just showing everything. So even with like Gary Vee, right? Huge fan, and just watching Tea with Gary Vee, there's, I don't know, just when they were first starting it, sometimes there'd be little tech issues. It's like, no one cares. I mean, it's
people were just like,
that. Oh yeah.
and actually I've been so busy lately, which is ironic because most people are not. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm at home, I'm bored. And I'm like, I'm working 70-hour weeks still. And out, not at the house. I'm in our wine store during the day. I'm at a restaurant at night and other things in between. And I haven't had a lot of time to keep up on like watching. I haven't seen one Tea with Gary Vee. The only one I saw, like the little clip that Damon posted that he was on, and I was like, that's my boy. So I was like his cheerleader for that. But that's literally the only clip I saw. But on one of the weekly V's, I'm way behind. But it was the one since they started doing Tea with Gary Vee, and they were talking about the technical issues, and they brought that up as a point. It was just like, it doesn't matter. Like Gary said something like, most of us are not George Lucas. We're not making Star Wars. We're not like, you don't need all that. It's more about, you know, what you're actually sharing and inspiring people and getting people kind of pumped up. And like, he's like, this is a hot mess. Like the audio is going in and out and everything's like, they're used to like a high level of production, and it's not happening right now. He's like, doesn't matter. Don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
it's like
Go.
everyone's favorite show. I mean, it's
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
The viewership is like tremendous.
crazy.
He's got everybody
Right.
on edge, and they're just like, the one day that he canceled, people were like, "Oh, what are we doing?" You know, like people were like crying
Right.
in the street.
Yeah.
And you've also got on, like, talk about some of your side projects. What is Mase Media?
That's my digital media company that I'm building.
Yeah, and
It's
the veil has been lifted.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I have like so much going on, and sometimes I try hard not to judge myself because I'm like, man, I'm just like not spending enough time doing this, and then I don't know. I was listening to one of Gary's podcasts the other day where he was like talking about stop being like so hard on yourself. You know, you can only do so much.
Yep.
But yeah, that's one of my side hustles. I guess there's not that many, but super passionate about that. My job right now though is my priority, like I said in that tweet that you mentioned, just because it's teaching me so much about business. I love the way they run their company. It's phenomenal. Learning a lot. So I'm just trying to absorb all that knowledge and work really hard there, and then eventually get to that. I think people are like impatient or rushed, and like I'm saying people, but that I'm like that too. But this is one of the first times in my life where it's like it's okay, like just take your time with that, and like
Well, we're kind of being forced to do that right now, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is great. I mean, I agree that a lot of people are super impatient, and people, especially in business, they're like, I want the money and I want the money now. And like for small business, it doesn't really work that way. You get the money like way, way, way later. And it requires just like the utmost patience. And when you're, for myself, mine is actually in a physical, community and space where there's a lot of accountability. But I think the same is true of the digital space, and that people need to kind of start to treat it that way. And I understand there's a lot of young people that are kind of the foundation of that industry right now that maybe haven't been entrenched in like a physical community to experience that. But boy, I think that would go a long, long way if people were just more patient and treated it like a brick and mortar business. The level of engagement would probably go way, way up.
I feel like that stems from like motivation too. I feel like if people are like super focused on just monetizing it and making money, it'll just lead to disappointment, like I never ever think of that. Everything I do is like based on passion, or I don't know, I'm just not capable of doing something that I'm not excited about. So like money, I don't know if that's a bad thing. It is like the last thing I think about, I don't know.
No, I mean, it's the same for me too. I get criticized for it sometimes, but right now people are like, oh no, that was a good move. Good move. Because now nobody's making much. We're not making much money, but
exactly, right. So just focus on building the brand and the audience, and then
very cool. All right, well, we're gonna take a little break. We'll be back in about 1 minute. All right, just hang tight, and we'll do another segment. Okay.